Hello everybody and welcome back. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your channel for everything VR related. Today, we're going over the major upcoming VR games of 2022 and we'll be checking in on some huge titles that either slipped your mind or still remain in rumor status like Half-life Citadel. This video will be ordered chronologically, listing all available platforms and release dates along the way, and then we'll finish off with some of those undetermined rumors and release dates that we just need to keep an eye on. Now, this video won't be covering every single upcoming VR release, only those that I expect will have some mainstream appeal, and there are of course links and timestamps in the description if you want to jump around. But before we get into it, I want you to leave a comment letting me know what VR game you're most hyped for. Starting off this list, we have the world building simulator Little Cities, which is most likely getting some additional attention after the release of Cities VR. Unlike Cities VR, it's not an adaptation of an existing flat screen title, and it looks to be smaller in scope and complexity, along with a cheaper price tag. So if you're looking for a more chill, SimCity style experience, put Little Cities on your wish list. But if you're not sure just yet, I will have a full review and Little Cities vs Cities VR comparison up next week, so make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss it. Next on our list is a port of Swordsman VR for the Quest 2. This arena fighting title has come a long way since its PlayStation VR and PCVR release, adding loads of new content, updating the fighting system, and ultimately becoming a solid brawler. This title also features a bit of an RPG system and unique weapons and armor. So in the near future, we'll find out if this title holds up on the Quest 2 and if it's a viable alternative to games like Blade and Sorcery Nomad or Gorn. Now, if arena fighters aren't your style and you prefer to get lost in the jungle, the VR version of Green Hell will be hitting the PC in the near future. The Quest 2 release was quite successful, and story-driven survival titles are truly underrepresented in VR. It's highly immersive, featuring excellent VR mechanics, and the only thing on my wishlist for the PC version is some updated graphics. While the Quest 2 does a surprisingly good job, there are some occasional performance hits and bland textures. If I'm going to be stranded in the jungle, fighting for survival, and picking leeches off my body, I'm going to at least want things to look pretty. And speaking of pretty things, we have the puzzle platformer Moss Book 2. Currently available for the PlayStation VR, the Quest 2 release is rapidly approaching. The world's cutest mouse protagonist will once again be taking us through some beautiful locations while battling some creatures and solving puzzles. You're also going to get a little bit more hands-on in this title, as there's a few new ways for you to interact with Quill's world. But if the last thing you want to do is have a cute experience, you can dive right into the Radius on Quest 2. Currently available for PCVR, this horror survival title is not for the squeamish, which has you traversing through surreal landscapes filled with dangerous anomalies. Properly utilizing stealth and realistic firearm mechanics will be the only thing that gets you through this unforgiving dystopian environment. Into the Radius is a beloved PCVR title, so let's hope they can pull it off on the Quest 2. Speaking of pulling things off, will an officially licensed NFL title actually work in VR? Well, that's what we're gonna find out with NFL Pro Era. Now, there is some true potential in opening up VR to some realistic sports titles, but we'll have to see if this translates well mechanically. So far, there's not a lot of information available, but it looks like you're given a series of plays to choose from, and then you'll just have to make the magic happen. Right now, I'm not sure if this title's a Hail Mary or a sure thing. But while we're on the topic of confidence, I have much higher expectations for Espire 2 than its predecessor. It looks like developers Tripwire have streamlined some of the elements that made Espire 1 unique, but also quite buggy, namely the stealth, enemy AI, and other features like issuing voice commands. And then they added co-op and two completely different styles of play. Do you want to run in guns blazing like me? Or are you all about the stealth like some lame nerd? Either way, the choice is yours, and the option of bringing a friend along makes me extremely intrigued for this title. But I'm actually way more intrigued for the VR version of Among Us. Being able to join up to 9 of my friends in a game of literal backstabbing and deceit is a dream come true. The flat screen version of Among Us is already extremely addictive, but VR adds this level of immersion that makes confrontations so much more intense. Even just a minor bit of body language can add so much to the overall experience. And I guarantee it's the most fun you'll have in a room where there's someone looking to murder you. Now, murdering is also something you're going to be doing a lot of in Compound. This retro art style roguelite shooter will have you continuously coming back for more. Recently leaving early access for PC, this title currently has overwhelmingly positive reviews, and it will be equally loved when it releases on the Quest 2. Battle your way through free roaming randomized dungeons, duck and dodge enemy fire, all while taking down your enemies with an array of different weapons. If all you're looking for is high quality addictive gameplay, there's not many better options than Compound. Unless, of course, Bonelab is just as good or better than Boneworks, which would then make it one of the best games available in VR. The hype is absolutely real for this one, as Stress Level 0 truly delivered back in 2019. Let's hope the following 3 years of development has led to a comparable experience for the Quest 2, and even supersedes it for PCVR players. Even if the title is just more of the same compared to Boneworks, it would already be a winner, but it looks like they're pulling out all the stops, upping the graphics, adding more of a single player campaign, supporting mods, and of course giving us a new fighting arena. Now this title is slated for a 2020 release, and I really hope it happens, otherwise people will be banging down the doors at stress level 0. Speaking of smashing down doors, we're gonna once again be fighting off waves of zombies in The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2. Contrary to how the title sounds, this will be a full release and not just DLC, and we are once again stepping into the shoes of the tourist, but this time feeling the ramifications from the events of the original game. So get ready for some more zombie-infested storytelling, scavenging for parts, and more of that brutal combat, which now features a chainsaw. Another sequel that appears to be bringing its A-game is Red Matter 2. This story-driven puzzler is absolutely beautiful and full of intrigue. The sequel takes place right where the original left off, is upping the graphics and storytelling, and even introducing some new mechanics like jetpack platforming and a projectile-based weapon. I'm currently playing through the original Red Matter title, which is definitely pumping me up for the sequel. Okay, so we're now moving into some titles that have definitely been confirmed, but their release date or even their release window has yet to be determined. First on that list is the first-person co-op ghost fighting title, Ghostbusters VR, promising to put some iconic ghost fighting equipment into our hands, allowing us to track, blast, and trap ghosts, either in single player or with up to 3 of our friends, all while capturing the action and humor of this beloved franchise across an engrossing campaign. I've already spent way too much time thinking about how much potential this title has and how much fun it might be to strap on the Proton Pack. I even went as far as making a whole video on this topic, which I will link above. Now the hype just continues as we move on to the PlayStation VR 2 with Horizon Call of the Mountain. Currently, we have the expectation that the PlayStation VR 2 will release this holiday season, and Horizon will be a launch title. Now I wouldn't be completely surprised if it slips into 2023, but when it does eventually happen, I expect to be completely blown away. Not only is the world of Horizon stunningly beautiful, filled with mechanics that would work really well in VR, it also has development team Firesprite working alongside Guerrilla Games to make sure this is an amazing VR experience. Sony was previously able to pull off miracles with the mediocre hardware that was the original PlayStation VR, and it looks like Horizon Call of the Mountain will be the start of some true AAA style VR games. Now I will be jumping back to PlayStation VR before the end of this video, but for now let's move on to something else that looks truly amazing, and that's Vertigo 2. An extremely polished and surprisingly good demo of this title has been available for nearly 2 years now, and every new glimpse we get of this game just looks better and better. The remastered version of the original Vertigo title remains one of my favorite VR shooters, and I tend to describe it as Half-Life meets Rick and Morty. The sequel appears to be bigger and better in every single way, and I'm absolutely dying for any new information on this title. Another great looking game that's gone way too long without any updates is Undead Citadel. VR definitely needs some more fantasy adventure titles, especially ones that feature physics-based combat. Crushing skulls and dismembering enemies is absolutely fantastic in VR, and a title that allows me to do this outside of just your simple arena fighter is exactly what I'm looking for. Unfortunately though, the developers have been really quiet for quite some time now, which either means they've hunkered down and they're trying to make this the best game possible, or it's the worst case scenario and this may never see the light of day. Now another title that's on the field just like this is Lo-Fi, but at the same time you can't accuse this developer of remaining quiet. Lo-Fi is a cyberpunk themed open world RPG set in a dystopian world where most of humanity has merged with a simulation, but you're left policing the crime-ridden streets of those who remain. It features a non-linear storyline that allows you to do whatever you want and plenty of different upgrades for you to spend your credits on. Lo-Fi is currently listed on Steam with a 2022 release date, but we'll just wait and see what happens. Okay, so we're about to head into rumor territory, but before we get there, do you want to know what's not a rumor? The fact that this video is brought to you by Kiwi Design, one of my favorite sites for VR accessories. They just released some brand new Quest 2 hand straps that'll give you that Valve Index feel and allow you to completely let go of the controllers. They also have plenty of other accessories like controller weights for those of you who work out in VR, cable management systems, and my favorite accessory, their super durable and extra comfy Quest 2 Elite strap. There are links down in the description, and don't forget to use discount code Mateo311 for 5% off and to help support this channel. Okay, so let's start the rumor mill off with the fact that Half-Life Alyx will be a release title for the PlayStation VR 2. There's recently been a lot more evidence that Sony and Valve will be working together to help sales of higher-end VR titles. This means we should expect titles like Horizon Call of the Mountain to eventually make their way onto Steam, and for Steam exclusives like Half-Life Alyx to eventually make their way onto the PlayStation VR 2. And this would most likely extend to our first rumored title, Half-Life Citadel. Years ago, Valve stated that they had 3 major titles in development for VR, and to date, we've only received 1. The second is supposedly a asymmetrical multiplayer title, which would allow you to play in first-person VR mode and a flat-screen overhead mode where you would supposedly control a battlefield. Imagine something like a combination between Left 4 Dead and Alien Swarm, and the title would be ideal for people playing on the Steam Deck or in VR. It's a truly interesting concept that I really hope is true. In the same category is HLX, which is supposedly a version of Half-Life Alyx that runs on a mobile platform. Now, when I say mobile platform, I don't mean the Quest. We're knee-deep in rumor territory now, but Valve's next VR headset should have some mobile capabilities, and a version of Half-Life Alyx would be optimized for it. Now, currently, Valve's attention is focused on their Steam Deck, so it's very unlikely we will get anything VR related this year, but I'm truly hoping for something by early 2023. Now, on a similar note, we have Assassin's Creed Nexus and a Splinter Cell VR title from Ubisoft, which I recently covered some leaks on. But again, these are titles that have supposedly been in development for years, and we are just not getting any new information. Now, the Nexus leaks did have a lot of information, but again, they're just leaks, and the leaked footage was just a menu screen. At the same time, there are also rumors that Ubisoft is financially struggling and preparing to be bought out from a private equity firm. This could easily cause smaller titles like Assassin's Creed Nexus to be put on the chopping block. Now, rather than ending this video on a title that might be headed downhill, I just want to mention 2 early access games that I really think you should follow for the remainder of this year. The first is Everslaught, which plays like a combination of Doom and Diablo. It's extremely violent with dark, gritty combat and some amazing graphics. Mechanically, the game is pretty frickin' sound, and I'm just waiting for them to add some more content. The same goes for my favorite co-op RPG, Legendary Tales. Physics-based co-op fighting with up to 4 players and an RPG system that rewards you for playing the way you want is a dream come true for me, and that's why I've already spent 30 hours in their early access. To give you an example of how the system works, if you like to go around swinging heavy weapons, your character gets stronger. If you like using bows or even sneaking up on enemies and stabbing them with daggers, you'll increase your dexterity. On top of that, there's plenty of perks you can choose to make the character play exactly how you want. I usually play this game with Soulfox, who has designed a monk-style character, which goes around punching off heads and even blocking attacks with his forearms. My character is a glass cannon mage that just constantly rains down hellfire. Overall, it's a fantastic RPG system, VR or not, and I just can't wait to see more elements added into the game. But for now though, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens for the remainder of 2022. Okay everybody, that was today's video. I'm sure I missed some titles, so leave them in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, consider subscribing.